After sending Ruth home, Dustin returned to the peaceful medical center. However, he couldn't help but frown the moment he opened the doors to the building. The place looked as if it had been ransacked. It was a mess. Boxes of medicine were scattered all over the place, and Dahlia, who had been rushing here and there the whole time, had on a face that was drenched in sweat. Diarica, where did he put the diarica? Dahlia mumbled to herself with a prescription in hand. After looking around for a while, she finally saw a box of diarica that had been stored in a medicine cabinet high above the ground. Since it was out of her reach, she could only retrieve it by stepping on a stool. "What are you doing?" Dustin asked coldly. Dahlia was startled by his question and lost her balance on the stool. Seeing as she was about to fall to the ground, Dustin instinctively grabbed hold of her before that could happen. It felt as if he was carrying something precious in his arms, as a nice smell wafted into his nostrils. After propping her up on her feet, he immediately, without a moment of hesitation, and let go of her. "You're back already?" Dahlia asked as her expression lit up for a brief moment before she quickly snuffed it out. "Where did you go in the middle of the night? How come you didn't pick up my calls?" "I just went out for a bit and didn't bother checking my phone." "What are you doing here?" Dustin answered back with indifference. He assumed that she wasn't the type to take the initiative to search for him, especially with her arrogant attitude. "I just so happened to pass by and saw Mr. Jones passed out at the entrance, so I helped him get inside," Dahlia explained. "He passed out? What happened?" Dustin asked with a frown. "I heard that his house had been ransacked by thieves, and after fighting them off, he got severely injured in the process. I think you should head inside to take a look at him," Dahlia urged. Dustin said nothing more as he immediately complied with her request. Sure enough, he saw Gregory Jones lying on the bed with a pale complexion. Inside the steel basin under his bed was a pool of contaminated blood. When he went up to him to check his pulse, he immediately frowned. Gregory's celestial decay seemed to be getting worse. It was also getting worse at a faster rate than he had expected. "You're back already, kid?" Gregory asked as he slowly opened his eyes. He had a nonchalant expression on his face. "I guess this condition is back again, but since that Dahlia girl gave me some medicine just now, I should be fine now," Gregory explained. "What the hell happened here?" Dustin asked as his brows furrowed deeply. To curb his celestial decay, he had specially placed several seals on Gregory's body. But now he could see that the seals had been loosened. This indicated that Gregory had been forced to use his true energy. Not long ago, a few scums arrived at the medical center and started blabbering about arresting you and talking about taking this gozraberry or something from you. Naturally, I refused to tell them anything and even beat their asses before they fled. However, I didn't know that by doing that, I'd be using my true energy, which would cause all of my old wounds tore open. I really fucking don't know what to say," Gregory huffed. To think that 10 years ago, he could have easily taken care of all of those scum with a flick of a finger. It seemed that his age had finally caught up to him. "Oh right, before they fled, they left you a note. Take a look at it yourself," Gregory added before pulling out a blood-stained sheet of paper. "What?" Dustin gasped after reading the paper over. 2 lines of words were written on it. "Meet me at the horse dojo at 10 p.m. Remember to bring the gozraberry as well. If you don't show up, we'll get rid of your entire family," were the words that were written on the paper. After he finished reading it, Dustin crumpled the paper into dust with one hand. It was fairly obvious that this was the work of the Horst family. He didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but since they were the ones looking for trouble in the first place, they couldn't blame him if he decided to play along. Anyway, it was a good thing that Dahlia girl came in clutch at the right time. Otherwise, I would have been in serious danger by now. Gregory let out a small sigh. Although the scoundrels didn't manage to scratch him, his internal injuries were quite bad. So, if it weren't for Dahlia's timely treatment, his life would have been in jeopardy. "Thanks," Dustin muttered as he turned around to look at Dahlia with a complex look on his face. "You're welcome. Mr. Jones has always been good to me, so I felt that it was only right that I returned the favor," Dahlia replied while wiping off her sweat. "Regardless, I should still thank you for everything. Anyway, I have places to be again, so I'll have to trouble you to take care of Gregory here," Dustin said. "Where are you headed to this time?" Dahlia frowned. "To get my revenge," Dustin declared. At night, in the commander's room at South City's military headquarters, a handsome young general was analyzing his battle formations on a sand table. Standing behind him were several female lieutenants, all of whom merely stood guard as they allowed him to do his thing. All of their gazes were filled with admiration and worship towards the man. One must know that the person in front of them was actually the youngest commander of Dragonmarsh. Paired with the goddess of war, Scarlet Spanner, they were known as the rising stars of the Spanner family. Not even 30 years old, he held power over hundreds of thousands of troops, he'd won hundreds of battles, achieved countless merits, and was definitely worthy of the title God of War indeed. No one was more capable in the entirety of Dragonmarsh than him. He was known as the National Warrior. At that moment, his phone started ringing. He'd received a call from an unfamiliar number. Adam Spanner raised his eyebrows slightly at this, as he thought that it was a bit strange. "Hello, is this Adam Spanner?" A familiar voice asked him the moment he answered the call. "Who are you? How dare you call this commander by his name?" The nerve dash, "This is Dustin Rhys speaking." Adam instantly froze on the spot and didn't know how to respond. He immediately swallowed his words back down. After staying silent for a while, he finally mustered the courage to reply in a stiff manner, well, if it isn't Mr. Troublemaker. I thought you died in a ditch somewhere. I even brought flowers to visit your grave every year." "Stop talking shit. I need you to do something for me." Dustin snapped. "Hey, watch your tone. I'm the commander of an army now, not some puny mafia character you can brutally beat up." "Adam visperet." "Oh, so what do you want me to do?" Dustin taunted in reply. "I want you to give me more respect. Like when you ask me to do something for you, you need to word it in a way that sounds like you're pleading. You could, butter them up a little first," Adam said while dusting the badges on his shoulder pad. It seemed to Dustin that he was still as arrogant as ever. "Forget I said anything, I'll go find someone else," Dustin spat, as he wasn't in the mood to play games with him. "Don't hang up on me yet." Adam responded, all startled, before continuing with a face that was all smiles, "Look at you, can't you take a joke? Honestly, you get mad at everything I say. You know how it is between us. If you have anything on your mind, you know that you can just tell me." "What was I thinking? You're the commander and military god of the Dragonmarsh army now, after all. So, how could I possibly trouble you with this? Perhaps it'd be better to just find someone else." Dustin trailed off. "No need to bother with that, Dustin. It would be an honor for me to do something for you. Just take it as you're granting a favor for me, alright? Please give me a chance. I promise to do a good job for you." Adam begged in a panicked tone. After waiting for so fucking long, he finally obtained a chance to show his strength. How could he let go of this opportunity so easily? Since you're the one doing the begging now, I'll give you a chance, as I can sense your sincerity through the phone," Dustin said. "Thanks a lot, Dustin." Adam thanked him with a huge grin on his face. This display of his soft side caused a few female officers near him to stare at him in disbelief. All of their eyes were wide with shock, and they all looked as if they'd seen a ghost. Was this really their usual death stare and stoic commander? Who exactly was the person on the other side of the phone? How did they manage to make an esteemed military officer act so meekly like this?